Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Nvidia report for Friday, August 8th, 2025. Let's take a look at the charts. This is a big day for Nvidia. Well, it's a big week. The last couple of weeks we've been testing, pushing through on an intra-week basis. We're presently above it, the 178.04 2.5-year channel top. If we close today above this structure by a full 1% margin, and that is 179.82 today, then we enter another buy signal that should just maintain the upward momentum we've seen since the April low and reach the 219.64 level within about 2 to 3 months. So closing 179.82 or higher today, Friday, August 8th, 219.64 becomes a 2 to 3 month objective. On an intraday basis, we do, of course, have the 186.39 level and the 188.03 formation. Yesterday, we pushed through the high that was put out about a week ago at 183.30. 183.88 was the high. And, you know, if we happen to push through 183.30 one more time today, I do think we could see 186.39 to 188.03 today. This is a solid zone to take. Well, taking profits, that's a good question. How do you finesse this? Because it depends on your time horizon. If you're a 3 to 5 day swing trader, and we mentioned 4 days ago, Monday of this week, that when we closed above this structure, if you're a 3 to 5 day swing trader, you could play the long side into the 186.39 to 188.03 area. But if we happen to push into this zone later in the day, and now I'm talking more to longer term traders, so I'm not trying to convince a 3 to 5 day swing trader that they should now shift into a 2 to 3 month near term investment. But what I will say is if we test 188.03, I think taking some profits, all profits if you like, on a 3 to 5 day swing trade, certainly a good play. But if we close in this vicinity, in other words, if we close at 179.82 or higher, as I said, we do enter a longer term buy signal that should play out into later year, 219.64 than expected. So I'll let you play that as you like, but just know that if we happen to test this upper area today and we don't back away, we enter a long-term buy signal by closing at 179.82 or higher, which should result in a violation of this 188.03 level by some point next week. That would likely result in further price acceleration to the upside. But we're not there yet. I'm just kind of mentioning that as just an idea. Now, 179.82, once again, the 1% violation threshold. 178.04 is the long-term channel top on the weekly chart. You know, if we back away from that today, we could quite easily test 176.46. This formation has contained selling pressures pretty well. I only have it as an intraday support because the real key here is 178.04 on the weekly chart, daily chart 178.35. And if we close below 178.04 today, that basically keeps a lid on longer term buying pressures. And having tested a 2.5-year channel top, the market inclined to fall into the 149.64 area over the next couple of months. So that's why I want to keep it really light, discouraging aggressive buying at 176.46 unless you're a day trader. And I think that's a level that can be bought as a day trade. And certainly if we were to close then 179.82 or higher today, the week itself, then you could hold that into next week. But if we break 176.46 today, 171.84 is in reach today. 171.84 is really the beginning of a range down to 171.47, this newly formed a horizontal structure as well that can absorb selling through next week. From here, we can round back up into the 178 handle again within 3 to 5 days. So I see this as a 3 to 5 day swing trade.
If you're finding value in this analysis, it's only a glimpse of what we offer. Your real trading edge starts at wickedstocks.com. Each week, premium members receive 2 high-probability stock picks. Each one comes with a complete trade plan, including exact entry, profit target, stop loss, and regular updates so you can manage the trade with confidence. You'll also get daily video analysis in the top traded markets, the SPY, the Triple Q, and Nvidia, highlighting the key price levels, trends, and trade setups we're focused on. Whether you're day trading or swing trading, these insights help you zero in on the highest quality opportunities with clarity. Try it all free for 5 days. Cancel at any time.
It's also a 3 to 5 week, 3 to 5 day swing trade to the downside. And this is all very nuanced, and I'm going to try to express this once again. But after having tested long-term resistance, and if we do close today below 178.04, it holds that likelihood for bearish rotation into the upper 140s over the next 2 to 3 months. And if over the next, let's say, 2 to 3 days, we happen to close below 171.47, that is, I think, the beginning of a process that could yield 149.46 by the end of September. On the way down, of course, you'd have a 3 to 5 day sell signal to 161.91, and that can contain weekly selling pressures. I'll probably reduce this to a weekly support level because this is continuing to rise through time and will converge upon 178.04 over the next, you can actually already see it'll be in the upper 170s by the end of August, this 161.91 formation. So I just want to treat this as more of a stair-step process down to 149.46, and I will say that if we were to close over the next week or so below this 171.47 to 84 area, that could be your go with sell signal on weakness. In other words, I've been talking about 149.46 as a possible, 2 to 3 month target below 178.04, and if we do happen to close in the coming days below 171.47, that could be your go with on weakness. In other words, what I mean by that is I understand that some people just refuse to sell into strength. They sell weakness after strength, after resistance is tested. Others will more aggressively sell the 178.04 area, but it takes patience and risk management. You don't want to let this thing run off to the upside. If we happen to close at 179.82 or higher today and you're short, my suggestion is to exit that short position and consider reversing and going long. Going long on strength, again, in terms of a secondary buy signal, I might add, would be a settlement in the next few days above 188.03. And then it just sort of pulls away to the upside in a more accelerated way. Let's get back to this chart here. 171.84 converging with 171.47. This is our base 3 to 5 day swing trade base. You can buy this on a 3 to 5 day swing trade, but if we close below it, once again, after having tested long-term resistance so much over the last 2 weeks, I think this is the beginning of our sell signal into the upper 140s. And of course, 161.91 on the way down, certainly able to contain weekly selling pressures. We might even get a 2 to 3 week bounce from here back into the upper 170s, low 180s. So there's that. By which point, this structure will be well above all of that. So, these move through time. But last thing I'm going to say is really probably the fifth time I've said it. If we close below 171.47 over the next week or so, I see a good high for the month of August, likely bearish continuation to 149.46 by the end of September. Until then, we're still in this process. What is it? Is it a topping process where we can expect 149.64 over the next few months? Or are we pushing through resistance as we have been on an intra-week basis, but have yet to close above it at the end of a week? If we close today, Friday, August 8th, at 179.82 or higher, the answer is yes. We are continuing north to 219.64 by the end of the year or sooner. And I am going to leave it at that. Please click like, share, subscribe. Check out wickedstocks.com. I do want to mention that this week we put out 2 stock picks, one on Rocket Companies, the other on Generac Holdings. We've put out 2 a week all the time. There are at least a handful out there that are close to going off in terms of a buy signal. We're always looking for 20% moves on those underlying stocks. If we don't see at least that potential, we don't present it. You'll also, with a 5-day free trial, receive daily Triple Q, daily SPY analysis. These are 2 indexes that are testing really key levels right now. I think you should see them, and you can see them for free by going to wickedstocks.com and taking advantage of that 5-day free trial. I will be back, of course, Monday with Monday's Nvidia report. You have a great weekend.